Welcome to the Career Ready podcast, the show that helps you navigate your career with confidence and be career ready. Today, we're exploring a fresh perspective on networking, one that moves beyond business growth and handshake to focus on building real support systems and community. Networking doesn't have to feel awkward and transactional. Rather, it can be about asking for guidance, offering encouragement, and building connections just like we deal with friends and family members. When approached this way, networking can open doors to job opportunities, mentorships, and advice, while also creating a stronger sense of belonging in professional spaces. To bring this conversation to life, we'll be hearing from College of DuPage student Juan Hernandez, who has been actively involved in networking through student clubs and even professional conferences. Juan will share how he first learned about networking, how his perspective has evolved, and the positive results he's already experienced. He'll also offer practical tips for students who are just starting out and may feel unsure about where to begin.
When most people hear the word networking, they usually think of something awkward. Maybe you picture a room full of people in suits handing out business cards, trying to sell themselves, and it could feel fake, intimidating, maybe even a little slimy. But I want you to challenge yourself to think about networking as something different. Instead of thinking of it as working a room, I want you to think of networking as building a support system. Most of us already know how to do this because we do this every day of our lives. Think about your family, your neighbors, your closest friends. You don't build these relationships because you are keeping a score or because you are expecting them to pay you back. You do this because you want to support each other, make your lives easier for one another, and because you enjoy getting to know each other, learn from one another. This is essentially networking. In professional settings, networking doesn't have to be about swapping favors or putting on a show. It's about connecting with people who share your interests, who've walked in your shoes, and who might have knowledge that makes your journey a little easier. It's about trust, curiosity, and community, just like the relationships you already value. First, let's talk about why you would network. You might want to network because you want to hear about opportunities a little early on. Maybe you have a classmate that will tell you about an internship before it gets posted early, or a professor might connect you to a research project. You might want to find a mentor or boost your confidence. You might want to get real-world advice or experience, build your support system, learn to build better communication skills, or expand your worldview. You might want to get your name out there or collaborate with others. Or finally, you might want to plant the seed for future experiences. But how can we approach networking? Well, start with curiosity. Networking isn't just about what you get. It's about learning. Ask questions. Be genuinely curious about someone's work, about their journey, or about advice they might have. People are often happy to share this information. Also, share your story and be authentic. We often talk about having an elevator pitch, and this is always great, as it helps others understand who you are as a professional, and it helps you connect with the listener. That said, don't get too caught up in reciting a script. Be yourself and explain what you have going on, what excites you, and what you're curious about. Honesty often goes further than just trying to sound impressive. Then think long term. A single conversation may not pay off immediately, and that's okay. Networking is about planting seeds. Stay in touch, even if it's just checking in once in a while by asking how somebody is doing or sharing an article that reminded you of them. Then, give before you ask. Remember that networking is a two-way street, and providing support can be quite simple. Try things like encouraging someone celebrating their wins, recommending a resource, or connecting them with someone else. Small gestures build trust and create community. So where can we build network? Lots of places. Let's start with schools and campus spaces. try building community with your professors, classmates, career services, alumni, school events, and clubs. Next, workplaces. Network with your coworkers, supervisors, clients, at conferences, professional development opportunities, and even vendors you often interact with. We also have online spaces such as LinkedIn, professional forums, Slack groups, and even following professionals on X and engaging with their posts. And finally, do not underestimate opportunities given at community organizations such as volunteering, neighborhood groups, cultural associations, faith communities, and even at informal settings such as coffee shops, gyms, local events, and even such things as golfing. Sometimes the most meaningful connections happen at the least expected times. We talked about how networking doesn't have to be transactional or intimidating. It can be about building community, trust, and support systems, just like the relationships we value in our everyday lives. But seeing as how I am well into my career, I appreciate how it may sound like my perspective is a little skewed. And I wanted to give our listeners the perspective to hear from somebody who is walking through an experience very much like their own. What does networking look like from someone who is just starting out? How does a college student still early in their career navigate clubs, conferences, and professional spaces? Today, I'm joined by Juan Hernandez, an accounting student at College of DuPage who's been actively participating in networking opportunities on campus and beyond. He's here to share what he's learned, what's worked for him, and his advice for other students who may feel unsure about how to begin. Welcome, Juan.
Thank you, Mary.
So before we start, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, whether it's your major, your interests, or what other networking opportunities you've been involved in so far. Anything you'd like to share with us?
Okay, my name is Juan. I'm a second year here studying at COD, a sophomore. I started in 2024. My major, of course, is accounting. Again, it's something that I really like. Interest, I like just to be involved in school. Something that I just started doing in my last semester in spring because I wasn't doing that before. Now, talking about the networking opportunities that I have done so far, I can say that I didn't do it before this year. I never did it before. I thought that was, something from the outside. Then I wanted to change that, because for accounting, you need to know those recruiters, those people, those professionals. So I started going to meetings or activities for an organization called Alpha, that is called Latino Professionals of America. They usually try to connect, early professionals, students, maybe people in the community with managers, directors, or maybe people that are in a more high position inside of the business environment, mostly business majors, finance, accounting, law majors as well. And, just start getting there, going to one event, talking to a few people, then going to the next one. Then I start going to universities because they have a small, small clubs or chapters, how they call it, through the old Chicago area and, nationwide too. And just start getting those connections. That's where I start.
So, admittedly, you and I know each other because we work in the same office, and I was really blown away by how at ease you seem to be, how just naturally it came to you. But I want to ask you, when you first heard of the concept networking, what did it mean to you, and how has that meaning of networking changed over time for you?
So I never heard of networking before my first semester class in accounting, financial accounting. I never thought about I never knew what it was. I never heard about that word. I was like, okay, whatever. My teacher was telling us, hey guys, you have to do networking. It's something that you build relationship with professionals that help you with your friends, with your bosses, with your career, all that. Okay, so basically it's me talking to people. That's what I thought. Very simple. Didn't go beyond that. Later on the semester, I wanted to start looking for my internships, getting ready for that, or, be career ready. And I started going to the networking process, going to those events, talking to people, building those relationships. And I realized, maybe by the end of the summer, that it goes way beyond that. It's just a way to just make connections, meaningful connections. I mean, with professionals too, but with your friends as well, because you don't have IS everywhere. So if I make a really good relationship with someone and they see an opportunity and they think about, hey, I know this guy that I've been talking and all whatever, they're going to send that to me. I don't have access to all the posts they do on LinkedIn all the time. So if I see something as well, I can send that to the people that I know. And those small things usually help you out to get scholarships, get internships, go to events sometimes just to learn. So it was a change. Like, it was nothing for me, like no idea, and coming out of nowhere to start doing it and getting something out of that.
And I love what you just said right now, that it really is just like the little things, that it's just it could just be the little connections, because you never know where it could lead. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what we're trying to get out there, and also about connecting and about friendships and support systems. I think that is something that whenever we think about networking, there's kind of this really ugly idea that we have that it's kind of people using each other, but really it is what we make it out to be. Networking is what you make it. And so networking, if you want it to be about building friendships and supporting each other, if that is what you make it into, that is what it can be. That is what you are creating. You are creating a support system. And that is what I see. I see that you have these friendships. And for example, I saw that you had that when you went to that conference in Las Vegas with your friends. And you had, and I won't go into that just in case you decide to talk about that in a moment, but I just see so many wonderful things coming out of your experiences in your networking experiences, which I find so inspiring. And so going on to the next question, I wanted to ask you, how would you describe your style of networking? Like, for example, when you reach out to individuals, do you focus on asking questions, sharing stories? Do you build over time? Is it something that you feel like you already have a style, or do you have a style? Or is it just something that you just kind of see where a connection takes you? How do you approach networking at this point?
Okay, great question. So I remember when I was started doing like the networking part and getting like talking to people, I was overthinking it. Like, I wanted just to sound natural. Don't think that I'm getting like a transactional relationship, how you mentioned. Like, yeah, I'm not doing this just to get something out of you. I actually want to meet you. So I was like, okay, so just thinking, like, even though it's an early professional or it's someone very long in their career, just take the first step of like, how are you? How's your day? What things happened this morning on the way here, on the way to work? Yes, traffic was crazy. Weather was crazy. Make something like they're another person. They're another human being. So that won't change. In any situation, that won't change. Even though someone is a CEO of some company, a CFO of any company, they still had to deal with traffic and they still had to take the metro or public transportation or anything like that. So once you break the ice, like the icebreaker, at the moment you feel more comfortable, it's going to be the time to, hey, this is who I am. Okay, I'm a COD student. I go to school. It's my second year. I really want to get prepared in my career. So just to, get ahead and think opportunities in the future. Boom. There's one question. Okay, you guys offer something like that. What are the steps? What things are you looking for? How did you start? And that just goes and on. So at the beginning, I was overthinking it. With the time, I discovered that people just want to have a nice conversation. Sometimes people don't get that. So it's good.
I think that is so thoughtful. That is such a real thing to just humanize people, because you're right. Like, sometimes people are just so anxious to get something from an individual that they forget that they might be having a bad day. They might have they might have been in really bad traffic, or they might have almost had a bad accident on their way over, and they just want a breather, and to just have somebody say, "How are you?" is a little bit of a refreshing experience, to have somebody say, to ask them something about them instead of making it all about, this is what I would love for you to do for me. So that is a really wonderful thing to
I just
say.
had one more thing to add to that. Like, taking into look at experience that I have is once you go to someone and you start asking those regular questions, you can also feel where this is going. You're gonna feel okay, I can talk to this person, we get along, or maybe we don't. So you can also learn to give them the space. Because, maybe you start right away, they're going to feel uncomfortable, they won't have a good image of you. But if you say, hey, how are you? And then, like, they're shy, they don't ask something back. You know what? Okay, maybe they are not on the time or in the mood. So that's also a good way just to test the water. Okay, hey, good, fantastic. You know what? Let me go and ask somebody else. That's more than fine. So it's another thing to keep in mind.
That is a really great point. Absolutely. And is there... besides doing the asking, kind of doing the little icebreaker, is there anything else that you do to kind of prepare yourself? Do you do any sort of background information? Do you do any sort of preparation beforehand when you do go to these networking opportunities? Do you research companies? Do you review your resume? Anything in particular that you do? Do you prepare your elevator pitch? Anything in particular?
Yes. So I usually, when I go to places like that, I already know who is going. Like, the speaker's line, maybe the main company, because usually it's like home companies that host it. So let's say I remember in the summer, Morningstar hosted one of the interview preps sessions that we went to. And I know it's Morningstar, I know who are the speakers, so I get ready for that. Once we got there, they had a bunch of professionals from different companies. So there's no way to be prepared. There were 30 professionals ready to talk to students. So there's no way to get ready. But hey, just have aware where you are. Like, that's enough. And then if you are on the explanation and you hear the speakers and they mention the companies, or maybe they have the names of the people that you want to talk to, be focused. Like, hey, okay, I know they have I remember that, from banking, finance, marketing, HR, and accounting. I'm going to go straight to the people in accounting. Those are 4 or 5 people. I took their names and I started looking at them on LinkedIn right away.
Oh,
no
that's
doubt.
awesome.
Excellent. You get that just to have an idea where they work, how long have they been working, if they intern someone that you like, and then you also see where they went to school. So with those 3 things, you're okay, that's a good idea. You won't tell them that you looked at them on LinkedIn, So just like, okay, so once I go there, I know I will talk about this amazing company they intern with and they've been working for a while. And then, hey, also, I'm thinking about transferring to XY school. What do you think about it? And so, people like to talk about themselves.
Absolutely.
So that's just a good idea. Like, hey, what do you think about this school? And like, oh, yeah, I went to that school. So that's pretty good. Those small things help.
I love it. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's pretty quick, but just enough at the time, on the same moment that it's happening.
I love it. That's amazing. That is a really amazing tip. I love it. It gives the opportunity for them to, like you said, talk about themselves, to make that connection. Okay. Absolutely. I love it. And so with regard to, I want you to tell me, because I know that you've had a lot of really wonderful successes. Is there any specific story that you would like to share that has had any specific positive networking experices that you have had that you would like to share with us?
Positive experience, I think I have a ton of them. I think right now I'm going to take the one that was the most meaningful at the time for me, and like it changed my perspective. So before I go into the convention in Vegas, that was in August. We have a pre-convention workshop here in Chicago. That was in like early days of July. And that was hosted by Deloitte. So I was like, hey, it's my first time going to the Deloitte Tower and all that. And I thought it was going to be, hosted by the alpha people, not the, recruited from Deloitte. So I get there to the Deloitte Tower. I was doing the NSO here training, and then I went there, like very scared, like still business casual with my resume, because I recently, pre-convention workshop. So we were working on resumes, elevator pitch, and all that. And I got there and it's like, okay, this sounds like a presentation. They were talking like the main points. Always, the first beginning, I remember having this structure, good template, accurate dates, same font. And then we got divided into groups, a small group, 4 people per group. and I was alone. Okay, I was with people, but I got like kind of late, so I have another table with people that I don't know. So we got in that, and they bring the professionals, and they sit next to each other, and they start talking and checking our resumes, asking us, our elevator speech, what things we expect to get out of the convention. And I remember that the first time talking to our recruiter for a Big Four, even though it was a Deloitte event, there was people from EY and KMG on the same room to helping the students because it was for Alpha. And out of that, I remember saying, like, someone take a look at my resume and say, hey, yeah, it looks good. I really liked it. And then talking more about me. And then you say, okay, you know what? Give me your information. I will see you at convention. And then when I went to the convention, I saw them. And then I got a coffee chat with a professional from KPMG as well. And I remember having that conversation. And it was just something that it wasn't like a huge thing, but it was a game changer the way that I feel about, like, okay, I feel good. Maybe someone can see it. Someone can appreciate what I'm doing and the way that it looks, So it was a pretty small thing, but it really changed my perspective. I was so happy when I left that night. Like, I'm excited. Let's go. Let's get ready. Let's keep doing it.
Oh,
so,
I love that. It really is. That is amazing. Congratulations. That's excellent. So some students may not feel comfortable with the idea of networking or even understand the purpose of it. What advice do you have for them?
At the beginning, it's 100% hard. There's no easy way to say it. The first time, you're gonna feel weird. You feel like you're bothering people. That's one thing. You're gonna feel that why they want to hear it from me if I'm a student and they already are where they want in life, no? But the thing with the professionals and the people that take time to go to those events is that they want to help the students. So that they actually they genuinely want to spend their time helping somebody else because they were in your position. Most of them, the people that I have met, have been to community college as well. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I went to community college as well. I went to universities. I want to come back. And if I can give any tips or advice, help those students. So it's up to you or take that opportunities. They're gonna go out of their comfort zone. You have to do it too. Practice at home. Practice with your friends. I have one tip too to keep in mind. If you are very shy, not very outgoing, before maybe start going to those networking with professionals, start doing events at your school. Like go to the clubs, look to the meetings, look like those events they do, like from the campus organizations board, activities board, go to those. Start talking to students, same people on your age. Like there's like a safe place, then you talk to someone new. Okay, once you are able to have those conversations, start getting ready and go to the networking. So
I think that is a great tip. I think that's because these are your peers and it's a great opportunity to also make friends because not only are you on the same boat, but eventually all of you will get out there in the workforce as well. Yeah. They might be connections so that once they are out in the workforce, you might be able to help them land a job. They might be able to help you get a job. You never know where your paths will lead. So I think you're absolutely right. It is a really wonderful opportunity to network with fellow peers, and that's a really wonderful place to start. You are absolutely right. This kind of leads already into number 6, which is what are some small, simple steps someone could start to build their network, which is starting with peers. Also, professors as well. Tell me a little bit. Do you think that also helps professors, maybe clubs? I know that you are involved with clubs as well. Tell me about that. You volunteer. You are very active with volunteering and clubs. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay, so I want to start first with the faculty and professors part. I think that's a main point. Like in my first semester, I'm gonna do my example right now. So my first semester, I took an intro to business class. It was a very easy class, a one-on-one class. I just went there and I enjoyed the class. I remember being there and participating, doing my homework, showing up, and being excited. So I get along with my professor. I remember that I talked to her, but not like a lot. But I was paying attention. I was going to the class, doing those events, doing the presentations. And then on the summer of this year, I don't know where, if I see her, I say, hi, how's it going? Everything good? She's asking me how I'm doing. I'm very good, that like very small stuff. But then she reached out to me, like via email. She sent me an email, hey Juan, how's it going? I know someone from a company that's looking for a student from COD that's like is in accounting, bookkeeping, and I thought of you. Like that's just enough. I thought of you. I sent you the opportunity. If you want to, I can connect you with the recruiter, or at the time was the CFO of the company that was doing the interviews. I'm like, yes, of course, fantastic, right away. Of course, she sent it, and it's like, it's a whole different process when you are cold hard applying to getting referred by someone. So she sent an email to my boss, it's called Reed, and hey Reed, this is Juan. I know him, one of the great students. I know you asked me for that. Have a time to meet, and like right away I got an interview 2 days later. And I go to the interview, and it's just a different feel. You feel more comfortable, you feel excited. That at least you have a good start. It's like it's a better start. And I go through the interview, and I got the job. That's where I work right now as well. And I enjoyed it, and it's fantastic. It was just because of my professor, keeping connections, being nice, actually enjoying. I think that's the point. You can be a good student, and maybe you don't like the class, you don't feel like you don't have to like all your classes. But if there's one class that you really enjoy, go, do the extra step. That's something that I would recommend. Now coming back to this and being involved with school, one club that I did here is COD. We started last semester. It was random people. I remember going to the hub that we have here, talking to them. I started building relationships. There I met 2 of my closest friends. Out of those closest friends, we start hanging out a lot. We go out, we travel, we go to you, we stay here until they close at 11 at night. We talk in the parking lot until 12 in the night. All this time. We spend a lot of time together. And out of those friendships, he knew another person, somebody else, called Kimberly. Then she went, hey, it's another kind of student. So I started talking to her. And she then later said, oh, you know what? I have this opportunity because she's a senior. Okay, here you go. Apply to this scholarship. Apply to this internship. That came out of that. And then, even though you try 1,000 things, like I remember applying to hundreds of jobs and hundreds of internships. Most of it you get rejected. No, that's one thing. But there is this point where you get accepted on one of them, or where you get the scholarship. And one of the last scholarships that I got was because Kimberly sent it to me. She was like, send it to me, applied, and even though I was trying, it was like 3 essays that you had to write. I was doing it, and the last day I was like, I haven't finished it, and she was like, hey Juan, send it. And I did it on the last day, and I sent the application, and last month I got the scholarship.
All right,
so
congratulations.
It was pretty good. And it's like, hey, I just know Kimberly, and I just had the opportunity because I'm making a friend here. And I got a real relationship out of that, a real friendship. And, those people start caring about you. Now he thought, okay, I know another friend. Let me connect you because I care about her and about you as well. So the small things. Now coming back, just being here at school, volunteering, being at tables, talking to people, it's going to help you get more confidence. Like, yep, you know what? I talk to someone, it didn't go well. Okay, I learned how it is. I know I won't do it again. Okay, let's try this different way. And you start, burning those things, those mistakes already here at school, where it's like, very light consequences or not consequences. It's like a funny story that people thought that you were weird or whatever. But then later on in life, you just enjoy it. You later on, it's going to enjoy it. And then later on, you're going to have the experience and the confidence and the charisma to talk with professionals, recruiters, or your interviewers at the company that you want to be.
I love that. And what I love about your perspective is that you are always talking about putting yourself out there. You recognize that, it's like you said, like you might feel, and what I love is that you're telling the audience, like, it may not be easy. Like, it wasn't easy for me. And yes, I did make mistakes, but then I learned from them. And I also love that you are telling the audience to not give up. You're telling them, that you're telling them about how you have forged these authentic relationships and how you have had these wonderful experiences. And, for example, with the internships and with the scholarships, you didn't get hired for 100% of the internships that you applied to. You didn't get all of the scholarships that you applied for, but you didn't give up. You continue to apply and you got them. You don't give up. You continue to grow as a professional and you will get there. And you will eventually succeed and you will continue to grow as a professional. I love your positive outlook on things. I really enjoy listening to your optimism and how everything is about growth and how you have all of these really wonderful relationships, but how they're also just these sincere relationships. How, you continue to expand this network. And yes, you do have these wonderful opportunities, but it's opportunities to develop a support system. You're there for them just like they're there for you, which is precisely what we're trying to get out there. That networking isn't just about using each other. It's not this slimy thing that so many of us have always grown to think of whenever we see like movies and stuff like that. No. It's about growing a community and helping each other out. And I'm saying this to the audience is exactly what networking can be. And I'm so glad you were absolutely the perfect guest to have on for this episode, because I feel like you really do embody the perfect example of what networking can and really should be. Thank you so much for joining us. And I do want to end with this last question, bringing it back to you. I would love to know, what do you hope to do as you continue to grow as a professional? What do you want to do, with your networking, with your connections? Once you, graduate, where do you want to take networking once you go into your professional, once you grow into your career? What do you hope to do?
Just one last thing that I just want to add before we go with the question is refer to somebody that I met recently. She told me that it's not rejection, it's redirection. So yes, you got rejected, whatever it is, but it's another way to, okay, let's go to the other way. So it's just that. Just keep that in mind. Very small phrase. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Now, going back to what I expect to get out of, with networking after graduation, it's just if I have the opportunity to do the same things that people did for me back. Yes, even though I'm going to be an early professional, my first 2, 3, 4 years of my career, I know that I can come back and do the same interview prep, have resume, have conversation, those coffee chats with other students. At the time, they're going to be first year, second year students as they did with me. It's just, I need to give the same thing back, It's like they did it for me, I had to do it back again for them. Now thinking of more developing my career is just, I had to know my peers. I had to know with who I'm working with and keep going to those things, showing up, showing my face right there. They won't only remember the people they see. So it's like, if you never showed up, if you volunteer, if you don't do the extra, I'm not talking about the extra step working, but it's me like, hey, you're showing up, or going to those lunches, going to those coffee chats. Everybody's going to a lunch, going at the office. Okay, let's go. They do that in my office. I didn't do it at the beginning. And like, you know what? They're going out on lunch on Thursday. I'm going out on lunch on Thursday as well. It's just part of that. So yeah, it's just keep going it, and maybe not looking as a professional to talk to other professionals, but more like a professional talking to students. That's what I would like to go.
Love that. And I absolutely see you doing that. I do. I think that you are definitely an inspiration, and I just see so much coming from you. So thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And with that, I want to once again thank Juan for joining us today. With today's episode, there are no listener questions. However, if you have a question, you can submit it to careerpodcast@cod.edu or on social media @COD Career Center, and you may hear the answer in a future episode. Thanks to all our listeners, and special thanks to Juan Hernandez for joining the Career Ready podcast. We hope you have a better understanding of networking